Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah.
Another episode of Trash Talk. I'm Damian Hill. With me, as always, is TJ O'Connor. Trash Talk is brought to you again by Valhalla Treat Statue out in Brighton, Minnesota. Origin Wellness CBD, Striking Institute, Spartan Martial Arts, James Clark Sports Psychology and Hypnosis Therapy, Fighters, and TJ's mom. How you doing tonight?
Man, physically I'm doing well, but I mean, there's a reason why we're here, and there's a reason why we ain't been talking. How you doing, friend?
Pretty much the same. Like physically, I'm fine. Emotionally, I don't know. Mentally, I don't know. You know, like it's a tough time. Tough time to be alive. You know, and I mean, we haven't posted a video in about a week, a little over a week, and I guess like this is a video just to tell everybody that we haven't posted and things like that, but I do want to let everybody know the reasons why that we haven't been posted, and it should be obvious, especially if you follow myself on Facebook or any other social media platforms, or follow TJ, or if you've been seeing what's been going on just in the news even. But George Floyd, a black man in Minnesota, was killed, and he did happen to be a very close friend of a very close friend of mine. And I didn't know him at all. Like, there was no direct contact between me and him. But from what I do understand, this guy that is our mutual friend, I'm not going to say his name out of respect for him, but they were close. They were really close. And George Floyd was a man that was seeking help, and he was being helped by a mutual friend of ours. And all of this was going on at the time where it's like, where, you know, somebody's the most vulnerable and this is probably the weakest that they're going to be. Like, we need to get them back to who they are and who they used to be, and like that. That's where our mutual friend was. Like, that's what he was rooting for him. He was fighting the fucking fight, dude. Like, this man was trying to change his life, and our mutual friend was trying to help him get through that. And I know that it's impacting him a whole lot. Almost every time I talk with him every day, like, we both end up in fucking tears just because he's sharing stories, and I was like, you can't help but to feel something. Like, you know what I mean? Especially, like, even if you don't know the guy personally, like, you get drawn into that stuff.
Oh, man.
I mean, it's good to see, like, that people do care, you know, especially, like, man, like, our mutual friend was trying to get into his mind that, dude, his life did matter. And seeing it now, we're seeing it now.
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing it firsthand, and it's one of those situations where this truly has grabbed everybody by the heartstrings. So you can only imagine, like you said, I have the pleasure of knowing that mutual friend as well. I didn't know Mr. Floyd personally, but it's one of those things you can only imagine how this feels on a personal level. To see this drawn out in a media sensation. I mean, we've all lost people on a personal note, and it hasn't got this attention. So when you see this attention and you truly see what Mr. Floyd's life meant, I mean, you're seeing it here now, and it's unfortunate that he's not able to see it as well.
Our mutual friend that we speak on, I know it's tough for him to deal with what a lot of the people that the racists got to say, because of course, like, that thing those pop up on his timeline. Even if he doesn't want to see it, it's like it's being shoved in his face every single day. Some of the other things, the positive things that he's been focusing on, which I think has been really great, and especially since he's a martial artist himself, he's an amateur fighter. This community aren't necessarily friends, probably know who our mutual friend is, but they're in support of the cause. They're in support of George Floyd. They want justice, and the fact that there's so many people in the community that he's so close to and involved in, that he didn't know that this many people knew and cared and understood. And that's one of the things that I know that he's been focusing on, just to keep himself on the bright side, because I've actually ran into Davey Young. I didn't go down there with Davey Young or anything like that, but I ran into him at night. We were all running from the cops. We groups, best sustaining groups in those situations. But rain down, seeing him there, seeing their live feeds, seeing Nick Palmer down there, seeing Ryan Schaefer down there, going down there with Ryan Schaefer, having Alfonso Bell coming all the way from Wisconsin to come down protesting up the streets. I mean, it's crazy like that. I mean, well, one, I mean, there's protests going on in London, all throughout the United States.
Man.
Are feeling the pain and showing support for the need for justice from the police's injustice, and not just this one time, all of the time.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then I don't know. I really respect all of the fighters that are out there on the front lines, marching, going to the protests, staying out after curfew, and risking themselves because, man, that's a lot, you know. And but at the same time, these dudes are fighters.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing is we talk all the time about how small of a community the fight game is. And I mean, let's be honest and kind of step back. The whole point of Trash Talk is to show the community support for the fighters. So to see the fighters turn around and show that equal support for the community, especially at a time like this, it's beautiful. Being Minnesota's my home. The Twin Cities are my home. These neighborhoods that are feeling this is my home. And unfortunately, I'm 1,000 miles away right now. I don't get to do this on the front line. So to see these fighters and my friends, I mean, these are people, like you said, that we've seen, and you get to see a little bit more from them, from what they're willing to put themselves through to get this point across at this time. And anybody out there, everybody out there, I tip my hat to you.
Man, there's a few of the fighters that I've been able to talk to while all this stuff is going on. I wouldn't be surprised if some of them end up running for political office someday. Like, be the change you want to see. None of them want to be politics. None of them want to do anything. But I mean, anything in that realm. But they would be the best ones for the job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the movie Walking Tall. You know, with I mean, there's an original version, but you know, I'm fucking 28, so I'm gonna mention the one that has The Rock in it.
Rock, yeah, for sure.
So, but anyway, he comes back home from war. He just wants to, or from serving in the military, you know, he comes back home. He just wants to be a citizen. He just wants to reconnect with his family, chill in his own hometown, you know. But he starts to notice that all the corruption and everything that's going on in his own town, in his own city, and the sheriff's letting him do it. The sheriff is letting everything go on. He's the bad guy. Well, I don't want to be a sheriff, but I know all this shit is unjust and it's not gonna stop. Somebody needs to stop it, and the guy in charge of stopping it isn't gonna do it. Well, fuck it, I'll do it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what he did. He ended up becoming the sheriff and changing the city and getting rid of all the crime. That's what the people are doing now. You know, and honestly, I feel like this whole situation is gonna inspire a lot of people that are currently fighting. I mean, I'm specifically speaking on about the fighters that I encountered during all this protest, and the ones that I've been messaging and talking to. I feel like it's going to inspire them something great.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, I really hope so. And like you said, that analogy with Walking Tall, that's perfect. And I feel like I've said this before on the show, and it's not my original take, so I don't want to take credit for it. But I feel like anybody who wants to be in a position of power like that, wants to run for office, should immediately be disqualified from the job. The ego that comes with wanting, I mean, like you said, it can come from a good place. I want to help people, but there's 90% of these people, they want that power for a different reason. They want that power for themselves. They want it justly. And I would say the best man for the job is normally someone that doesn't want it. The best man for the job is that someone that has the job thrust upon them, and it's time for them to lead by action. And in a time like this is what we need. So whether, like you said, hopefully it inspires a change in the fighters. What I want to see, and all we can hope for, is this moment in time inspires a change in the kids. Show the kids that you can make the change, you can make the difference, because that's ultimately where it's going to start. This isn't going to something that's going to change overnight. Unfortunately, it's going to change with the change in culture, and it's going to start with getting everything. I mean, change is the only word, and I don't have the best example for it, but I mean, it's going to start with the youngins.
Yep. And I'm just glad that we have so many people that are actually in touch. It honestly, I feel closer to the MMA community now just because of all of the things that have been going on. And how even the people were, I mean, I've had a lot of debates with a lot of people, a lot of them being fighters, a lot of them being coaches and stuff like that, but it's never, I try not to get too heated in a lot of them, you know. Some of them we just like, we have to agree to disagree at the end of it, and I'm like, I think I cut out for a second.
Yeah, you cut out right when you said agree to disagree.
Yeah. Okay. Well, like we don't, we have to agree to disagree, and I feel like we're never gonna come to agreement on almost anything because we're so opposite on this one thing. But then you have more conversations with them, and you realize like, hey, we agree on these things, we don't agree on those things, you know. And it's so pretty much universal from almost everybody that I've talked to that this was wrong. And I mean, when I don't know, I just feel like a whole there's not even words for it because
No.
I look at everybody differently now, dude. Like it's crazy.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of things that have come out over the last week, where I mean, it really gives you a different understanding of people, and on my social media alone, I have the platform to where I see all spectrums of it. And I mean, there's spectrums to of it where I'm very proud to see, and others where, I mean, it kind of makes you disgusted with other people's opinions. But like you said, ultimately, maybe you can talk with that person and find equal ground. And it's not always, doesn't always have to be a conversation. People have different perspectives and they focus on the wrong things. And I mean, that's where the change has to start. You have to see what it is. And like you said, no matter what I've seen people post, I have not seen one person justify what happened to Mr. George Floyd, that was murder. We all seen it. I mean, was it something to where I believe the cop woke up that day and said, I'm a killer guy? No. But what he did was murder, and he needs to be prosecuted for that. And there's no one out there disagreeing with that. They might find other things they want to bitch about. They might want to bitch about people being on a closed highway during a protest. But, I mean they're focusing on the wrong things here. What needs to be focused on is the injustice that happened. And like you said, this isn't, as much as it's about George Floyd, it's about everybody. It's about every situation. Anytime a cop thinks that this is okay, it doesn't have to be a cop. Cops are the example. People in power, for them to think that it's okay to use their power unjustly and to, oppress. I mean, that's the word.
I'm gonna go as far, like as low down on the totem pole as positions of power that get abused all the time. And it's like the power you get, it becomes easier and easier because you have more and more authority, and you're the one who is the authority over yourself sometimes. But like let's say the bouncers at a nightclub, and I'm friends with a lot of them. I'm not going to name any names, but that's one of the things that, oh, I don't like this dude for whatever reason. We went to high school together. Your shirt is stupid, or you said something funny walking up the street and I didn't like it, and I'm not going to let you in. I'm going to let all your friends in, but I'm not going to let you in.
Yeah.
But and I'm like, and they've done that, or where they're like sneaking some punches in or whatever, where you're already subdued and stuff like that, and then it's their word against yours, and then all the other security guards like, man, that was fucked up, but you're not going to try to get this dude fired. You like, he just made a mistake, or he just being a dick. He had a rough night. It's okay, but it's not okay.
No.
But even in those small situations, it happens, So it's like you don't believe that that's going to happen more extreme and with other things. I mean, we don't have to get into all that.
Yeah, that's a whole other episode. But like you said, power corrupts. That is the ultimate statement here. And when you don't see action or punishment for what you're doing, it allows you to think that you can move more freely. I feel like I'm stealing somebody brought this up, and I can't remember who, so I feel like an asshole right now. But it's literally like the movie Training Day. Such a great movie, but Denzel, I walk a higher path. And it's that thought process that is the fucking problem. As great as cinematic theater that is, as much as that's my favorite movie of all time, I mean, that type of shit is the problem, and that's where we have to start ultimately.
Yeah.
There needs to be action. There needs to be consequence for everybody equally.
Accountability.
Thank you.
Now, yeah, I don't know. I think that about wraps it up, and I just love the fact that all of the fighters are out there fighting, right? All the people that are involved in the protest, even the people that aren't actually physically involved in the protest because the media has got you scared. Because I mean, it is a threat out there. It needs to be taken serious. If you have kids, if you have a wife, if you have family, people that love you and care about you and things like that, I mean, I would recommend. I mean, I'm being very specific on the kids and wife part. I mean, if you don't have kids, you don't have a wife, motherfucker, you should be down there.
Yeah, everybody has someone that loves them.
They're gonna arrest you. You're gonna get arrested. You know who can never get arrested again? George Floyd. You know who can never go down to Minneapolis again? George Floyd. You know who really can never stay out past 8 ever, even after the curfew ends? George Floyd.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Like and subscribe this video. Trash Talk with Damien and TJ. Thank you, guys. Don't be a hoe.